welcome back to the show, Martin.
Thank you for having me again, David. It's always a pleasure to be here, as you know.
Well, you're always welcome. It's good to see you. So just want to just start off with discussing this Great Reset. We've been seeing
Mm.
this tagline used a lot now by global leaders, including the Prince of Wales, the leader of the World Economic Forum, and old blackface, old Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. I don't know if you've seen a video with him. He's describing the Great Reset as this pandemic as a great
Mm.
opportunity for a great reset,
How
uh,
very convenient.
and seems that the world is heading green. Martin, uh,
Mm.
what's your take on it all?
Wow, how very lucky we've got noble people like Greta, haven't we, fighting the cause. But it's an interesting observation you made there, is that Build Back Better. We've seen it in so many places now on in different countries and different continents. There's clearly a bigger agenda going on at the moment, and that's not having your tinfoil hat on. How on earth could that coincidence possibly happen? Is there it is right before our very eyes, and they're using this COVID thing as a smokescreen, because I'm sure it does exist. There's no doubt about that. But they use it as a smokescreen to do something much bigger. Because you can see the way they're trying to kill off small businesses and totally change our way of life.
Well, it certainly seems that way, doesn't it? And build back better with what? What's the system that we're heading into? And if you look at the video that was released, which we spoke about earlier, I know you've seen.
Mm.
For the viewers, some may have seen it, some may have not. The World Health Organization, sorry, the World Economic Forum, sorry, put a video out saying this is our prediction for 2030, and you'll own nothing, but you'll be
Mm.
happier. It sounds a lot like socialism to me. What do you think?
Wow, it clearly is, isn't it? They'll basically have you right where they want you. And we know like socialism likes equality, but there's some people that's more equal than others. And that's the problem with it, where it always falls down. That's why we need a balance between the two. So we need to be
Right.
very careful, because this is just creeping in through the back door and we're sleepwalking into it.
Well, we have been sleepwalking into this for a very long time. This isn't. This has been planned for a very long time. These people have been talking about this for a long time, and now we're finally there. What you're right there about the system. You got the people at the top, as we saw with Venezuela, who Comrade Jeremy Corbyn said was a perfect example of socialism. Let's not forget. The next thing, once they run out of everyone else's money and
Mm.
stealing other people's property, there was nothing left. They're all starving to death, and then when
Mm.
neighbouring countries like Colombia were trying to send food in, they refused the truck's entry, whilst pictures of the president was sitting eating steaks. So it does seem that these multi-billionaires and world's richest men, such as Bill Gates and the leader of the World Economic Forum, who's pushing this and driving this, really spearheading this idea. It seems like a bit of fun for them. Their life probably won't change. They'll still be very wealthy, living in their palaces. Meanwhile, none of us will own anything. Um,
Well, this is what it's like though. This is what it must have been like right before the fall of the Roman Empire, when all like the everyone got too lazy and morals were collapsing, and the next thing you know, the barbarians just walk into Rome and the whole empire collapses. We're seeing some similar scenes here, because everyone seems to be, well, these people seem to be driven by greed and money all the time. It's never enough for them. They've got to try and get more and more and more. Um, and that's ultimately what communism will take to us, into a dictatorship. So that's why we can't lose our democracy.
Yep, and that's the thing. That's exactly what we're fighting for in a minute. This all about freedom, and if we don't stand up, we'll lose our freedom of speech, our freedom of expression, the freedom of thought. As we can see already, it's already on the line. We see many people, as we said in previous videos, the police knocking on people's doors, telling them to be mindful of what they've been saying on the internet and whatnot. Various social media sites now, ban people like myself, and I know you're constantly being suspended from Facebook and whatnot. Um, they just don't, you know, allow for freedom of thought or freedom of expression. But the thing is, Martin, since the early 1920s, you know, the neo-Marxists declared that the racial differences amongst our societies was the weakest point, the most vulnerable point um, within our societies. And by constantly attacking those points, you know, and exploiting
Mm,
points, they calculated that eventually our societies, you know, will be broken,
mm,
you know, and that we could be divided, weakened, and even, you know, turn against each other.
yeah.
You know, and the Marxists have got, you know, agitators in all communities. Um,
Yeah.
they want violence, they want bloodshed. You
Yeah.
know, they'll get it by any means necessary, even like using, you know, children. We saw with Black Lives Matter, all the
Mm,
youngsters were out protesting, you know, and a lot of them didn't even know what they were out protesting for.
exactly.
I spoke to some of them at some of these rallies that they were at or riots, and some of them were saying to me, you know, we want to replace the system with another system, and I was like, what's? They didn't have a clue. They didn't know what system they want to replace it with, you know. And a lot of them were just there on emotion, um,
Yeah.
you know, rather than an educated. Um,
Exactly.
you know, they didn't make a sound judgment. You know, they let their emotions cloud their judgment. They didn't know what they were there for, really. We see
Mm,
the video that went viral. The two lads, that, the statue that was coming down. I think it was in Oxford of Rhodes. Uh,
mm.
they were asked, you know, are you here for the statue to come down? And they were like, yeah. And it was like, well, why do you want the statue removed? And they're like, oh, we don't even know who he is, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. But they
So,
won't go down the BBC though, will they? And try and pull that statue down, the one that the paedophile sculptor Eric Gill has outside BBC's headquarters. You know, the main building in London. It's funny how they don't want to pull that statue down, isn't it? They're absolute hypocrites. But this is what cultural Marxism is, though. Like you said, they pick on the weak points of society, like where they try to divide us, like the LGBT, all these sorts of things. They use these things as a weapon. They're the ones that are full of hate, as far as I'm concerned.
no, you're right, and that's exactly what they've been doing. I've been saying this before, said it before. You know, they weaponized the community, so they've tribalized different groups. You know, and said like, "We're for you," and these people are against you, and they're stirring up troubles with these different communities. In the meantime, behind the scenes, you know, now we're seeing the Great Reset. So it's just all smoke and mirrors for what we're about to step into now. And we've even got our own Conservative Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, who's announced that, you know, we're going green and we're going to be, you know, car, you know, petrol and diesel car friend. We won't have the cars on the road anymore. It's all going to be electric. And the Conservative idea of the ultra low emission zone in London, which is Sadiq Khan is spearheading at the minute, is actually a Conservative idea. Um, it's 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 um it's strange to see.
It
How
is strange to see. And what makes me laugh actually is Boris now's pretending to be all green, but you know that didn't stop him trying to get a railway built between London and Birmingham that's shredding up our countryside, being built through ancient woodlands and all sorts of places of ecological interest. You know, and suddenly, you know, he doesn't care about that, but all of a sudden he's green about other things. You know, the man's just a hypocrite, if you ask me. It's a joke.
he's a lefty, you know, and the majority of these, if you speak to like Extinction Rebellion, like you know, I'm in the security industry. I've been on jobs when they've been there, and I've had to throw them off of properties and whatnot. Um, you know, I've spoken to a lot of them, and they're communists. If you speak to them about politics, they are communists. You know, and that's the problem with this. They're all watermelons. They're green on the outside and they're red on the inside. We have to be very careful. We have to be very careful about, you know, trusting these people. These people are masters of deceit.
Mm.
You know, like you just pointed out. You know, they say one thing, but really, there's a hidden agenda behind all this. For me, I think it's quite scary, and I think a lot of people, you know, are waking up. I hear there's a protest this Wednesday coming down at Parliament, and people are turning up against the Great Reset. Um, we'll see how they get on. I might pop down there and try and interview a few people if I can, because obviously that won't make the news. But it's not a new thing what we're seeing. And what we're seeing now of all these, the way they work, they've been working for a very long time. This divide and rule and this Black Lives Matter stuff. Just touching back on that again. There's a book I was telling you about earlier. Fantastic. I've read a bit of it online. I've ordered the book. It's coming in the next couple of days. And this book was by a black man, written by a black man in America, who actually joined the Communist Party because he believed that the communists really wanted to help his community. Equality of life is what we keep hearing now from the left. It's all about equality, etc., etc. And once he joined the Communist Party and he moved up through the ranks over the years, he got to actually see that they didn't have his community's best interests at heart, and they really didn't care. In fact, they were just using a black community to advance their agenda. The book itself you can get on Amazon. I just want to put this out there because I think it's from what I've read so far online. I'm really looking forward to the book coming through. The book's by a guy called Manning Johnson, and the actual title of the book is called Color, Communism and Common Sense. I think it speaks for itself. A very good title. But yeah, make sure you get a copy of that, Martin, and have a read.
I will do. Well, hopefully I'll ask Santa Claus very nicely and I might find one in my stocking.
It'd be to see how history's repeating itself.
Yeah.
I'll leave a link to that book below this video, so if anyone watching this wants to get it themselves,
And that's a good point, though, because people need to learn from history, but they don't, though. So, people need to, because otherwise we'll keep making the same old mistakes all the time. So I'll definitely be having a read of that. It sounds very interesting.
Those who fail to learn from history are destined to repeat it, or doomed to repeat it, as they say, I think. Well, thanks so much for your time, Martin. And a quick chat, that's a bit off the cuff, but
Enjoyed that.
set and what's been going on, because it's quite confusing, all this Build Back Better and the Great Reset. People wondering what's going on. Whilst we're all on lockdown, the first lockdown, at least anyway, we saw all the 5G towers popping up everywhere. But now we're being told we can't go here, we can't go there, can't do this, you can't do that, you can't even trade anymore. There's another video you done just recently, so send people over to your channel, check it out, Martin Costello's YouTube channel. He spoke to a manager of a florist, which was being harassed by the police and local council and stuff for trading.
Terrible.
If you get time, I'll check that out. But yeah, thanks again, Martin. Really appreciate it. And
pleasure as always.
We'll try and get on Martin's Facebook page next week and have a little chat about current affairs. And we'll see you all soon. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.